Welcome to the Bomba Pod. I'm your host, Martin Bomba, and each week we bring you meaningful conversations with guests who uplift, inspire, and encourage you to become the very best version of yourself. Whether you're chasing a dream, building something new, or just looking for a spark of motivation, you're in the right place. Produced by Dennis Ayotte and proudly supported by Window World and PJ's Coffee of New Orleans. Let's grow together. Let's be inspired. Let's get started. Hey everybody, it's Martin Bomba, and you are on the Bomba Pod. And on today's show, we are going to have a great conversation with a good friend of mine. He is a ex-Special Forces. He was in the military for years. He translated out of that and into the business world. And I should say transitioned out of that and into the business world. But we are also going to talk about what things translate from his military training to the business world. And he's an extremely successful entrepreneur. I've learned a lot of things from Ben, and I think you will too. So without further ado, Ben Hubbert.
Hey, thanks for having me, Martin. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you for being here, brother. I really, it means a lot for a guy as busy as you to sit down and take a little time with me. I appreciate that.
Well, I've been a big fan of yours and your family's from the moment I met you. We've worked together for, I was thinking about it, it has to be 14, 15 years.
It's hard to believe, right?
So it's been quite a while. We both learned a lot over those years, and watching
one of us
you
has
grow.
more gray hair. What happened? What happened to you? You're not getting all those grays that I got.
Oh man, they're in there. They're in there. They're actually in my beard.
Oh yeah,
so,
that's where it really shows.
Yeah,
Can't hide that very much.
When I grow the beard out,
that's where you see it.
But I'm 47. I'm hanging on to the youth. I try to
I
stay
got 10
in
years
shape.
on you, man. I got 10, so it's only fair.
Exactly.
Which makes it even more annoying at how flippin' successful you've been in so many aspects of your life. Tell us about. Let's go back to the time when you were in the military. Tell me about how you made the decision to join the military, what branch you were in, and tell me a little bit about your time there.
All right. Well, I am originally from Gulfport, Mississippi. And
you don't sound like you're from Mississippi at all.
No.
In fact, I think this is the first time I've heard that.
So, yeah, I was born and raised in Gulfport, Mississippi. And one of my very best friends, Clayton Jones, he was joining the Air Force, and I hadn't really thought about it. I wanted to go to college and study business and figured one day I would get into business. And he kind of gave me the pitch on why he was joining the military. And, you know, he wanted to travel, see the world. His dad was in the military, and he's now a chaplain. Colonel.
Oh, wow. So he lifed it.
Oh, he lifed it. He was the main chaplain at Camp David.
Really?
And, yeah, my very best friend, Clayton Jones, big shout out to Clayton. Huge influence on me. And so I had started doing research. I was looking at the Navy SEALs, Army Special Forces, and I landed on Air Force Combat Control.
And what exactly is that?
So essentially, we are air traffic control certified ground combatants. So we go through your typical air traffic control training, but we also perform the same tasks that Army Special Forces, Navy SEALs do, all the infiltration techniques. And essentially, we go into other countries and take over their airports and call in airstrikes.
Okay.
So we paint targets, do a lot of targeting, and ensure that we're hitting the enemy, not friendlies, and segment aircraft to keep them separated and on target.
With today's technology and the drone strikes that can happen from a kid's bedroom, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a little remote
basement
control, right?
Yeah.
How has that changed what your job was for the people that are in today?
So I was in when the internet really took off and weapon systems started really changing. And since I've gotten out, they have evolved tremendously. I mean, it's as tech evolves, the weapon systems change.
Right.
and improve, and AI has been a huge component of that. But I would say I wouldn't even recognize a lot of the technology and a lot of the weapons systems that, our guys are using. I mean, some of the basics, like the small unit tactics, are probably very similar. Parachutes, scuba equipment, a
Right.
lot of that. But the radios, the way that we conduct air superiority on the battlefield, it evolves. It's more of a digital battlefield. And then with drones, I was in when we first started using what was known as the pointer. It was pretty much a big clunky drone, and we would use it to get eyes on areas that were maybe a little higher risk. And now, I mean, the technology, their vertical lift, bat wings, like we used to have to throw the pointer
Oh, that's how you got it launched?
to launch it, and now, I mean, these things are amazing. The technology's crazy, and the war in Ukraine has really shaped that I call it a proxy, but the UAV, the drone warfare that's being conducted there has shifted now into Iran, and it's pretty wild. It's very different than when I was in. I actually got out in 2008.
Okay. Okay, so you've been out for a little while.
Yeah.
And when you were in, I know much of what you did was classified. I'm not asking you to say anything you shouldn't say, but what was the most challenging and most challenging, number one, and most interesting places that you were, number two?
So the pipeline, so when you go into spec ops, whether it be SEALs, SF, pararescue, combat control, the training is extremely intense. It's typically an 80 to 90% washout.
That says a lot about how intense it is.
So yeah,
Because these are not, most of these guys that are doing this are gung-ho guys.
oh yeah,
You
no,
know,
I mean,
and-
Eagle Scouts, triathletes,
Yeah.
even some professional athletes come in, and you would think they would make it, but it was typically the quiet kid that just had that never quit mentality. It's the people that make it are the ones that just have that no quit in them. They
And that's what they want for that position.
absolutely. I mean, anyone can really do the job if you're fairly intelligent and you like to work out and don't mind being in the elements and putting yourself through a little misery. I've seen the skinniest guys that you would think would be the first ones to quit become the best combat controllers. So it's truly the cover doesn't tell the story.
Much more mental and much more heart than anything else.
It's the disciplined, the grit, the guys that just will never quit on the guys to their left and right.
Which is who you want beside you and,
That's right.
in front of you and behind you. You want them all around you.
And that's the culture in the team rooms. It is, hey, we've got a mission set, we've got hard tasks, jobs that we've got to do, and we want to make our team, our squadron, our country look good. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so, like I was saying, I was in Mississippi. It wasn't really the place I wanted to live and retire, and wanted to see the world. So joined, enlisted, and got my beret, moved to Washington State, Tacoma, Washington, and did several combat deployments in Afghanistan. And I would say that was probably the most interesting place I had been. It was literally like living in the Stone Age. I went from being right near Seattle, where we were going out, having a blast.
Yeah.
And then 9/11 hit.
Living the American life.
9/11 hit. And then before you know it, we're back in time, watching people carry big things of stick on a camel and running around barefoot in 20-degree weather. It was pretty insane being there, but a beautiful country, mountainous. I thought Afghanistan was a really interesting time in my life.
And whenever I think of Afghanistan, and I know now because of so much coverage that there are mountains and and topography there, but I just thought of it as something like you saw in the Bob Hope movies, where it's just a desert.
No.
Camels everywhere, desert, and one palm tree.
Well, I mean, Afghanistan is the size of France.
Okay.
So it's a huge,
It's large.
yeah, geographic country.
And the people there, were they receptive whenever you were there? The people that were there?
You know, they were very kind, very kind. A different culture. I mean, something I wasn't used to. Obviously, there were a lot of weird things about Afghanis. But most of the people I met and got to know and spoke with, I mean, good dads, good people, just trying to survive.
Good people are good people.
Yeah, just trying to survive. And oftentimes, where you're from can kind of tee you up for religion, the team you watch and support. And it was strange, the relationship between the Northern Alliance, who is kind of who we went in and partnered with, versus the Taliban. And then Al-Qaeda, to a much crazier element. But there were things about the Taliban that were actually, like, I connected with some of their philosophy even more than the Northern Alliance.
Really?
I mean, they were the ones that went in and essentially said, they eliminated a lot of the child sex trafficking stuff. I mean, they were totally against it, whereas the Northern Alliance guys were kind of the ones.
They were okay with it.
Yeah, they were participating in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
So how did we, the United States, end up on the side of that type of person?
Because the Taliban was supporting Al-Qaeda. So they were giving Al-Qaeda basically
support,
a place to live and train and support. And so that became our enemy.
That makes sense. And they were a very a very formidable enemy, were they not? In guerrilla warfare, at least.
They were. I mean, obviously, they're still in power today, but I think we were at war with the landscape.
Well, they definitely had the advantage.
Yeah, when you go to someone's backyard, it's their backyard.
Yeah.
And so the terrain, the mountains, and that some people just don't want to change. They don't want our version of freedom.
They do not.
They want what they're familiar with and what they connect with. And propaganda, I mean, we deal with it every day here, and they deal with it there. And so it was very interesting. It taught me a lot about the world, but it taught me about myself too. And not to judge based on what I hear, to truly dig into the deeper meanings and understand kind of who stands to benefit sometimes. And so that's kind of the way I view it today. Like, I try not to let the propaganda war sway me.
That mentality is something a lot of people could use today.
Yeah.
It really is. And I don't care what side you're on. If you can't open your eyes and at least be open to hearing the other side, how do you know? You have to have that discourse, and that's what's happened is we don't have that discourse anymore.
Yeah, and we can't always think we're right.
No.
We make a lot of mistakes. I mean,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, one of the first strikes in Iran was a elementary school right next to a legitimate target. But, 165 little girls my daughter's age get killed. And it's tough. War is horrible. It's tough. It's imperfect. But I do think that we should, as a nation and as humans, get better at listening and understanding.
Absolutely.
That we all come from a different place, and we have different ideas, different goals, and it's all okay. As long as we're, following laws and doing things that are in the best interest of humanity.
And not trying to impose that will on someone else.
That's right.
Yeah.
Especially across the globe where they're very different than we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not to get too deep into the politics of things. Whenever you came home from Afghanistan, was that the main place that you were deployed, or were there other places too?
I mean, I popped around here and there, did a lot of I became a TAC instructor, a JTAC, which is a Joint Terminal Attack Controller. So we teach others how to call in airstrikes.
Okay.
And so I was living in Vegas quite a bit and then back and forth from Afghanistan to Vegas for the majority of I would say the middle part of my enlistment. Then I became an instructor. So I moved here to San Antonio and fell in love with the city. I always thought I wanted to live here and decided to start Champion.
So that's what brought you here.
Yeah.
So that's a great place to jump off to the next segment of your life. You've left the military. You've gotten out, discharged. You always knew you wanted to be in business. How did you land on the HVAC business?
Well, I wanted to get in the solar business because I really cared about how much energy we were consuming. In my mind, it made a lot of sense. And I was getting my degree in finance, and one of my professors was talking about the scale of HVAC in San Antonio. It came up in an article, and it just blew my mind. I was like, no way. And so I compared it to solar, and then I started doing research. Like, people don't need solar, but
They
you go
definitely
home,
need AC.
you go home and your AC's out, you're calling me.
Yep.
And so I pivoted into HVAC, and the rest is history. I mean, I had some serious ups and downs. I mean, I knew nothing about the industry, really. I just believed in myself. I let my ego kind of
Lead the way.
take it and run and just figure, hey, I'm going to do the same thing I did as a combat controller. I'm just not going to quit.
There you go.
And man, I learned a lot. I got humbled a lot along the way, but I figured some things out, and best decision I ever made.
Well, watching you grow in that business, and I really did have the opportunity to kind of watch you from the beginning grow in that business, and I always found your want to learn from other entrepreneurs and want to learn from other business people admirable, because we joke about our ego leading the way. I mean, there's nobody that is in business for themselves or has started up anything that didn't have somewhat of an ego. You have to be a little bit narcissistic to think that you can do these things that we end up doing. And I watched a documentary last night actually on Billy Idol. You familiar with Billy Idol? Yeah. Okay.
Of course.
So grew up a huge fan of Billy Idol. Great documentary, by the way. But he was talking about when his dad was toward the end of his life, and his dad had not been a real big supporter of his career because he thought he should be doing something else, like most people who are parents of rock stars think in the beginning. You don't you're wasting your life. Well,
that's your dream, not mine.
Exactly. Yeah. So he said when his dad was kind of on his deathbed, he said, are you angry with me that I never supported your career like I should have? And Billy said, I could have said anything in that moment, but he didn't need to hear that it hurt me or that it was sad. I just said, Dad, I was actually crazy enough to think I could do this.
Yeah.
I can't blame you. And he said, and I was, And
you gotta believe in your own crazy.
You gotta believe, man.
Yeah.
Gotta believe.
And you and I both have done that.
And through adversity.
Oh yeah.
Through adversity, you certainly experienced adversity in the military field, which helped prepare you for some of the things that you would later on encounter in business, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, the biggest, I would say, benefit to my life was the discipline. The get up, make your bed, do the little things right, even when it sucks.
Yep.
And that translates into growth, into becoming a better father, husband, human, friend, leader, manager, all of those hats that we have to wear in life. And so that was what I needed the most and what I got the most out of my time in the military. I wasn't the most disciplined. I mean, I always worked out and had a vision for what I wanted my life to be, but I grew up without active parents. Like I could do whatever I wanted. I had that kind of generational trauma from a broken home.
Wow.
And so I didn't know what I didn't know. And so when I joined, I had a bunch of like big brothers teaching me how to be a man. And I hadn't had that. I didn't experience a father figure teaching me and coaching me on what to do. Hey, here's how you fix the lawnmower. Here, this is why you get up when you need to. And so when I joined, I was probably a little wild and looked at like a crazy kid from Mississippi. And so many good men took me under their wings and helped lift me up and turn me into a good person and a soldier and an airman and a war fighter and eventually an entrepreneur.
A very major player in San Antonio business. So
yeah,
we're going to talk some more about that. We do have to take a break, and we're going to come back with more of our conversation with Ben Hubbert, talking about his transition from the military into the business world and where that took him. And we'll be right back. I look up and I'm like, luckily we were not all arrested.
Right,
Luckily
yeah,
we were not all arrested.
Wow.
Oh, man. Got to take a break. I am being told we have to take a break. You know about that,
Yeah,
right?
I know it too well.
You have
Yeah,
hard stops
this
in
was
TV.
a nice segment. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, much more of a conversation with Bill Taylor. Wonderful, wonderful guy, and having so much fun. Y'all stick around. Hey, our thanks to Window World for sponsoring the Bomba Pod and making it possible. At Window World, you have a company that is going to be here to serve you for generations. With a fourth-generation ownership and local roots that run so deep, you're not going to find a better company to serve your home improvement needs. When it comes to windows, siding, doors, and so much more, look no further than Window World. And we have phenomenal financing options to fit your every need. Call us today, or better yet, come by one of our showrooms in San Antonio, New Braunfels, or Corpus Christi. And look us up online, windowworldtx.com in San Antonio and Central Texas, as well as windowworldcc.com in Corpus Christi in the Coastal Bend. Window World, service for generations. Hey, guys, we're back. It is the Bomba Pod, and you're in the right place. If you want to hear a great conversation that's going to uplift and inspire you, and today is no exception. Back with our conversation with Ben Hubbert. Definitely spent some quality time, it sounds like, I guess that's one way you could put it, in the military. Met some great people, did some great things, learned a lot about life and being a man and all those things that most of us take for granted who did have parents that were involved. Tell me a little bit about how that shaped you as an adult, and how did you move past that? And because so many people, I think, that go through trauma, and I'm certainly not saying one is worse or better than the other. Trauma is trauma. It's, if you were abused, if you were neglected, if you were, name it. There's any number of things that could be trauma. But to take that and put it behind you and realize I'm responsible for me. I'm responsible for my choices. I can't blame anybody else. Yes, this happened to me, but it is not me. And for me to continue to blame that person or that thing only gives it power.
Oh yeah.
How did you get through that?
Whew. I'm still going through it, Martin, every day.
Yeah.
Literally. So they say when you're triggered by whatever in life, could be someone cutting me off on the way.
Right.
Could be a house fire or anything that happens in business. Your inner child comes out from when you were really first abused to the point where it was painful.
Yeah.
And so I think I showed that inner child at the wrong times, when I didn't really understand what that meant or what I was doing.
Yeah.
And when you're in combat control or pararescue or these other high speed, low drag type jobs, the mission, the pace is so fast. And some of these guys, I mean, I worked around people that were the highest level performers. I still think back to a few guys on my team and just I worked with on deployment. They blow my mind. I mean, I used to talk like I was like that. There are like the Michael Jordans of combat controllers
Wow.
out there. And it is so humbling being around someone that can skydive like an expert, shoot weapons like an expert, understand every aircraft, every weapon on the aircraft. I mean, you've been around experts that are just high level performers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so being around them and being humble enough to learn from them and ask questions. And I feel like I'm a forever student. I am constantly trying to learn, whether it's one thing a day or something new that's going to help improve my life.
Well, if you're not constantly learning, then you're kind of lost because none of us know everything. And like you, even at my age, I mean, I'm pushing 60, and there are things every day that I learn, either about something or someone or about myself. You know, things that I'm still learning about myself. And while I certainly didn't have trauma like you did, I was adopted. I had wonderful parents, but you know, those are things that even subconsciously can help shape who you are and where you're going in life, and sometimes in a negative way if you let it. You clearly are still working on it, and I think that's part of it is you have to continue to work on it, or it comes back and gets you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because one of my kind of mechanisms, I would just bury the trauma. I didn't want to talk about it. I just wanted to pretend like it didn't bother me.
Yep.
And so I never really got to clean behind the fridge. You know, I would leave the mess. And when I realized that, hey, I need to truly heal so I can be better for the people around me, I started putting in the work. And I mean, there's a lot of things like reading books with people that have gone through it or provide. I mean, there are people doing 10 years of research in a book, and you get all that information in 8 hours or whatever.
Right.
And so doing that, I did plant medicine. I went on a plant medicine retreat, and it kind of helped me see my ego from a different place.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So after I sold Champion, I had always had a mountain to climb. So I always had the purpose. And I didn't realize how painful and lost I would be without purpose. And you go from being an entrepreneur and that kind of being your identity to, wait a second, I have money, but that doesn't, I've done without. The money was never my motivation.
And it took that to discover it, probably.
And I got invited on a plant medicine retreat with a veteran group. And, you know, I was in a very dark place because a lot of my trauma was kind of bubbling out. And so I got to clear out on that first retreat. I felt like I got rid of about a decade worth of trauma.
Wow.
And it was amazing. Got to integrate with a group of men that had very similar stories, some different, but we all had our own
Common thread.
And some guys, I mean, they did 20 deployments at the highest level.
Wow.
And I was junior varsity compared to many of them. And they're dealing with a lot of the PTSD for that. And so it put things into perspective for me also, like, hey, you know, every one of us in this human experience, we're suffering in one way or another. No one is flying through it without any nicks or chinks in the armor.
Nope.
And so I got to take a step back, look at myself from a different lens, and kind of make peace with my ego and not let it drive, because I was letting my ego completely drive in my life. And now I've been able to take the wheel and acknowledge my ego when it kicks in and try to keep it at bay. It's
Yeah.
kind of like that horse. You're like, hold on there, Seabiscuit.
But again, I think that anybody who has that type A personality and that drive, it is a constant battle between being confident and being cocky.
Yeah.
And, and everyone likes a confident person. Nobody likes a cocky person.
No. And so for me, what kind of helped me guide through and get back to a good headspace was finding purpose and doing things that were a challenge, giving me a reason to get up and get after it in the morning. And, people, what I've always fallen back on is taking care of the people that believe in me. So my employees, my team, I believe in employee ownership models. I read a book, The Great Game of Business, about, 10 plus years ago. And it clicked with me because I believe in that. I believe in conscious capitalism, giving people some autonomy and letting them grow within the organization truly. And so I started designing a new concept and just serving my team.
And as a result of that, I know a lot of your team, and I've seen a lot of your team, and there's a loyalty there that you can't pay for.
Yeah.
People think you can. You think you can buy loyalty. You can't buy loyalty. You earn loyalty, and I think that you've done an exemplary job of doing that in all of your businesses. Let's talk a little bit about now. I'm trying to gather the timeline. Did Champion come first or Leadhub come first?
Champion.
Okay.
So Champion came first, started that 2007. I was still active duty. I was still an instructor, and decided I was going to start Champion Air Conditioning.
This is a ground up thing.
Ground up right out of my garage, my little house in UTSA Boulevard, knocking on doors, recruited a team, and we took off. And
you had never done any kind of air conditioning work before?
I'd never looked inside an air conditioner. Literally.
Okay.
I just knew I love the way they feel.
Yeah,
Like I want it so cold, I want to exhale and see frost. So I'm a creature for comfort.
I like
and I
that.
assumed more people were as well. But I did some demo work in high school before I joined the military, and worked with a contractor, and was like, one day I'm gonna own a contracting thing. I always kind of tapped that in the back of the mind and figured I would do it. Plumbers, they weren't my speed, like just dirty, grungy work.
Right.
So nothing against the
thank
plumbers.
God, thank God
out
we
there.
have
I love you
plumbers.
guys.
Yeah.
I love plumbers. But I didn't want to do plumbing. I was interested in electrical, but when I saw the scale of HVAC and just how it feels when you don't have it,
Oh man.
I knew that was the direction I wanted to go. And I became a student. I studied it day and night, learned it, figured it out, surrounded myself with the right people, served them. And every day, especially my key players, I would ask them, what do you need from me? How can I help you win? Because I believe in being a force multiplier.
That's an important question to ask your team.
Yeah, I mean, I've the best teammates I had in the military were true force multipliers. They made every single person around them better. So I kind of studied that and was always amazed by the people that did it at the highest of levels. And I figured, hey, if I could do anything in this business, that's what I want to be. I want to be a force multiplier. I want to make my team around me better. And so they would tell me the same answer every time. And I caught the trend, and it was just keep me busy, keep me in the home. I want to run calls. I want to provide for my family. And so I was like, well, the only way I can do that is by being good at marketing, making the phone ring, studying branding, studying digital. And at that time, everyone was fighting over the phone book. I mean,
Right.
It
right.
was,
You wanted that placement in the phone book.
it was a dogfight
Yeah.
in the phone book. The majority of their budget was in the phone book. And then a few of the bigger guys were on TV or maybe some newspaper, a little bit of traditional.
Right.
But the majority, it was the yellow pages.
Yeah. And have you ever wondered, by the way, why somebody would call their company AAA fill in the blank?
It's because of that.
It goes back to that when there was this thing called the yellow pages. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so I met with a yellow page rep, and it just didn't make sense to me, the prices. I was like, that's crazy. I would never look here.
Right.
And I had the bad habit of looking at things through my lens and thinking I was my customer, which I wasn't.
Which is an important lesson to learn as a business owner.
I learned that over time, but I did believe that the internet was going to take off. I was like, this is where this is the natural progression. People are going to go to Google. I had lived in Seattle. I was already using search engines. And so I figured, hey, I'm never going to be able to compete in the phone book. So I'm going to go all in digital. And that's what I did. And as we started making pretty big moves and gained ground and started ranking, organically, and I was the first AC company doing Google AdWords in San Antonio.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm surprised by that.
I mean, it was 2007.
Yeah.
So,
and in 2007 was probably about the time, it actually may have even been before that, may have even been before I met you, that we had pulled completely out of the yellow pages. We went from having a half-page ad with siding, a full-page ad with, we're spending some money on the yellow pages.
It was like $50,000 a year.
And
right
I had,
there.
yeah. And I had to make the conscious decision to take the leap of faith and completely pull out of that and then start putting some of that money into social, like you talked about, and TV.
Yeah.
And so while I didn't understand it quite as well as you understood it, I did understand it was the way that things were going. And I knew if I didn't get on that, there would be a problem. So you saw a need for your team and for your company, but then you took it beyond that. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I started getting calls from other home service business owners that were like, "Hey, what did you do? How are you doing that? How are you ranking there? I saw you had one truck, now you have 5. What are you doing?" And so I started drawing up an idea of Leadhub and figured, why not? I had 3 customers that were right out of the gate that were like, "Look, I'll give you everything. I'll give you whatever you need to manage this and to essentially do for me what you did for Champion." And that's where Leadhub came from. And so I ended up meeting Aaron Waters, who is our CEO, maybe about a year later after I launched it, through his wife, Allie Waters, who is she was working PR for Samus Ochoa at the time, and she was my rep, and brilliant person that just really understood activation and the community and would give me probably some of the best feedback on marketing and messaging, and just someone who I learned a lot from. And so when she was like, "Hey, I want you to meet my boyfriend," I was like, "Cool, set it up. I'm sure he's smart." And we hit it off day one. And he was working at a smaller company where it was, he was chasing, I call it chasing chickens, doing a lot of small accounts, like hosting and we had big accounts, HVAC type budgets. And so when I brought him on, we were able to really turn it into a real company. And the rest is history. We've been in business over 15 years.
I had to be somewhere in the beginning.
I think you were like
that.
number 5 or somewhere in that range. Yeah.
And I've introduced you to I don't know how many people.
I mean, we're basically a Window World partner, and so we've got quite a few.
You're going to be at our family reunion.
We're going to be at your family reunion.
So awesome.
And you have been very impactful on us, and I'm forever grateful. I mean, I consider you and Debbie family. Watching
Likewise.
the way you treat and look at the next generation in your family, that's something that's very inspiring for me because, like I said, when I sold Champion, I didn't have that. What's next? That was it. That was kind of my plan.
And how let's talk about that. How did you come to the decision after building this company that you put your heart, your soul into, that you had grown from nothing to one of the top HVAC companies in the entire city, very well known. And did someone come and approach you, or did you consciously say, I think I'm ready for something different?
I had never thought about selling it. I loved it. I loved my team. You want to talk culture? The team at Champion was so unreal. We loved each other. My install manager would grill out weekly, if not twice a week, for all our guys. The call center, everyone jumped to do the job. They loved the customer. And we had such an amazing team. I got a call from Train, and there was a big consolidator who was trying to buy everyone, essentially.
Right.
And I was like, sure, give him a number. I'll meet with him. Would it hurt, right? But
Yeah.
I'm always open to learning from people, and I hadn't really thought about it. And, I mean, I met this guy, Jamie Stansel, who represented the buyer, and he was one of the best salesmen, smoothest talking Louisiana boys you'll ever meet. And he kind of convinced me that it made sense, that it was the right deal, because I came from nothing.
They were throwing big
Grew
numbers
up
around.
very poor. And yeah, I mean, $23 million. I was a huge Michael Jordan fan and was like, how could I say no to that?
Yeah.
I was able to bonus out my team. I mean, I had so many employees that were able to buy houses, to reach their goals by giving out really strong bonuses and taking care of them. But in hindsight, if I would have just held, who knows what it'd be worth today. But in hindsight, I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I'm closer with my family.
Yep.
I've got a new venture. I've got a new idea, a new, goal, a new mountain to climb. And I'm at peace.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about your philosophy in business and in life, is you're always moving forward. Yeah. There's always another hill to climb. There's always another mountain. You rest a little bit, but then you get right back after it.
Oh yeah.
And in light of that, so you sell this company that you built up from nothing, $23 million, which in anybody's estimation is a lot of money. $23 million is beyond life-changing. And now you've got to figure out, well, what's next? What was next? What happened?
Man, I had never, you talk about highs and lows in life, in that roller coaster of life. I went from being so happy, so amazed, so just the excitement wore off, and I went to the darkest parts of my soul. I fell hard and realized that I didn't serve money. I never did it for the money. I wanted freedom. I wanted to travel. I wanted to have a family, and you need money.
It's what money does for you.
It's a big part of the equation of kind of keeping score. But I don't serve money. I don't worship money. I don't really care. And in my meetings, we talk about money because we have to make payroll and expenses, and you want to find the healthy balance. But when I had the most money I'd ever had, I had never been in a worse mental health headspace.
Isn't that ironic?
It is.
And I think that you're not alone. I've heard that same story from lots of people, and I think what it is you think that, okay, if I have this amount of money, I can do whatever I want to do.
It's gonna make me happy,
and it's going to make me happy.
Yeah.
Money has never made anybody happy, to my estimation.
No.
Now, results of the money might have.
Well, if everything else in your life is good, and you have the money,
It amplifies it.
It amplifies it. It kind of makes you more of who you already are. And let's face it, we like to travel.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I love some beach time.
Yep.
I know you got your spot in Belize that you like
we
to.
love it too. Yeah.
It's amazing, and that's the biggest thing that I've learned about success and wealth is I want my wife and daughter happy. I want them planning our next trip, but I really, more than anything, I want our team bought in, and I want our customers happy with us. And they look at us like we're reliable, we're trustworthy, and we take care of them and our team.
We're going to talk about HVAC and V2 of the Ben Hubbert story when it concerns the HVAC business, but we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Thank you so much to our sponsor, PJ's Coffee of New Orleans. If you want to try the very best small batch roasted coffee that you're going to find anywhere, look no further than PJ's Coffee of New Orleans. 2 great locations to serve you in the San Antonio area at Camp Bullis and I-10 and at 281 and Bulverde Road. You're going to find all your favorites at both locations, from wonderful espressos, macchiatos, you name it, they've got it, as well as some delicious energy drinks, as well as our signature granita. And beignets, yeah, you bet we have them, and they are phenomenal. Be sure to stop by the PJ's closest to you and try any of our wonderful coffees, teas, and pastries. Thanks again to PJ's Coffee of New Orleans for sponsoring the Bomba Pod. Hi, everybody. We're back with my friend Ben Hubbert, and he is an entrepreneur, military guy, father, husband, and just an all-around good guy with a phenomenal story to tell from where he came from in Mississippi, rural Mississippi, and kind of having nothing. And I, and while I can't genuinely say I came up with nothing, I came up very modest, and hard work and discipline were a part of my upbringing, and that translates into the rest of your life. You are a very driven person, by all estimation, pretty much self-motivated, because you didn't have that compass and that guidance when you were growing up. Of course, your mentors in your military career, they were there to help bolster you and lead you and show you these things. So you've bought an AC company, you've kept it for a number of years, you've built it up. You didn't buy an AC company, you started an AC company, built it up to one of the top companies in San Antonio. Private equity firm comes in, offers you stupid money. I would have said yes to.
Sold.
I said, see ya. So you sell it, and then you, as often is the case with a private equity acquisition, you agree to stay on as a consultant.
Well, I actually became a director in the company. So I was essentially like the number 2A, 2B guy.
Okay.
So one guy was ops. I was director of growth. So I stayed on, helped them with marketing, helped them acquire more companies. So I really got to go in and learn how they think, the way they operate, the way they run their business model. And some good and some not so good.
Yeah.
But it was all knowledge, and it was a great experience. And there are times where I kind of get in my feels with some things I wish would have been different, but God is perfect, and God gives us this path and this journey for a reason. And I've gotten better at accepting maybe the things that don't go the way I want them to go. Because being a visionary, like I do see things the way I want them to be, but how I get there isn't perfect, and neither are the people around me. And so
That's never the case.
Yeah,
Nobody's perfect. I want to get back to your latest venture.
Yeah.
But since you brought up God, I understand you just got baptized not too long ago. Is that right?
Yeah, I've actually been baptized 3 different times in my life, but I was Protestant non-denominational for roughly 45 years. And when I married my wife, she was very adamant that, hey, I'm Catholic.
And she's been good for you, man.
She's not good for me. She is my world. But so I became fascinated with Catholicism because I kind of thrived in chaos, and
I grew up Catholic, by the way.
I used to say that, like, I thrive in chaos. So I liked a little bit of the crazy, like the mega church, the loud, the unpredictability of it. I think I kind of felt comfortable there. And when I would go to mass, I didn't know what they were doing. And it was very orderly, very
methodical.
precise, methodical.
Yep.
And as I spent maybe a year going to mass, not every Sunday, but most Sundays, we would go. I started really feeling the peace of it, and I do love order. While I would say I thrive in chaos, I prefer to be in a very rigid, focused, templated, if not, like a Catholic mass.
Yeah.
It started to become very comfortable, and I fell in love with it. And so my godfather, Father Jimmy Drennan, who was a former law enforcement, he runs St. Margaret Mary on Fair Road in the South Side.
Yeah.
So that's where I go to mass.
Wow.
I'm a parishioner there.
That's a trek. You don't live on that
it
side
is
of
a
town,
trek.
do you?
Yeah, no, to go to be a part of that.
Yeah,
parish.
that particular community.
And for him as well. And so my wife and daughter love it. It is essentially, we go every Sunday. We don't miss. It is a big part of my life and the most important part for me. And so, yeah, I've last year I got fully converted and got baptized into the Catholic faith.
That's amazing.
And I love it.
Congratulations.
It's been great. And this year, I am sponsoring my future godson, who one of my best friends in the military, his nephew reached out, and we become really close, and Bryce Brown, and he is converting to Catholicism. So this is Holy Week.
Yeah.
So that'll be Saturday night. So I'm really excited. We've got a really action-packed.
So he's converting on Holy Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I grew up, like I said, I grew up Catholic, and I understand what you're talking about because I haven't been a Catholic in many, many years. And like you, I never felt, well, I'll say this, I felt like I needed something different. And my parents were extremely devout Catholics, especially my father. And there was not a Sunday that we missed, ever. And that meant we were saying Mass at the house because we couldn't get out because we were flooded in. We were saying Mass at the house.
Yeah.
And I kind of rebelled against that. But the older I get, the more that comfort and that peace that comes with that means to me. And I still look back on it and am thankful that that's what I had. That's the upbringing that I had. And I certainly have an affinity for the Catholic Church for that reason. But I think that finding your place in God's world is something that does bring you peace.
Oh, man.
And until you find that, it's all kind of chaos.
So from my earliest memories, I always felt close to God. And I would hear my grandmother talk about Jesus. And after one really traumatic experience, I was maybe 6 or 7. From that moment on, I felt the connection. And while I would stray away here and there, my teenage years, and even, for a period of my enlistment, I was a wild animal. I wanted to have fun and go do everything else than to serve God. But I always felt loved by God, and I always felt very close, and like he was going to take care of me. And so I would say over the last several years, I don't know if it was COVID, something happened around then, post sale of my company, where I just got drawn back in very intensely. And I'm a pretty instinctual person. Like I let my intuition do its job, and I tap into it and listen as much as I can. And I have been obsessed with scripture, with podcasts, with listening to the Gospels on repeat and just meditating on it, and mass and everything else that goes with that. The changes it creates in you as a father, as a husband, because there were years and times where I wasn't the husband that I needed to be, the dad. I would come home and I'm just gonna lay around and not go check in on my daughter. Like there were times where I was like that, and I've always dreamed of being the father that I wanted, and that was a big part of what I would kind of design and create for myself of the dad I want to be to Holly. And so I think that has really helped me be able to communicate with her when she has her little rebellious moments, because I understand.
Well, your patience level is much higher than it was, I would bet.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is getting a hold of the ego and not thinking that everything is a slight, and not that, I should get my way all the time, or, let that alpha dog come out.
There is a time for that.
There is a time.
And your marriage and with your kids is probably not that time.
Totally.
But man, I've been there. And I respect that you recognize that and are trying to always become a better person, certainly a better father, better husband. That's something I've strove for my entire life. But you've rebolstered your faith, I guess would be the right term. You weren't born again. You just rediscovered your faith, and it's doing wonders for you. At what point did you decide that you wanted to get back into the HVAC business?
Well, my wife would ask me, like, hey, when do you want to get back in? She just knew how much I enjoyed being in the trades. I love Leadhub. It is the capability that Leadhub has is, in my opinion, just unreal. And that company and the team we have built and put together, amazing. We have a great team, and I love it, and I love being a part of it.
And you could have stopped right there. You could have just, hey, I've got this successful marketing firm. We're lighting the world on fire. I've got this great team. You didn't need something else. So what was that passion that brought you back into it?
Man, there was like several months in my life where I had to move away from my home, and I had to live in an attic for like 4 months. And I connect with those guys that are willing to do the dirtiest jobs and do whatever it takes for the customer and their families. And there's something about HVAC that I love. I don't know where it came from, how, I got so lucky to land in this space, but I also know I've got the playbook. I know how to do it. I have people around me that believe in me, that'll run through walls for me, and I'll run through walls for them. And so an opportunity popped up, and I decided to join the Wright Home Services team. Great family. They've been around as long as I've been alive. And it was the right fit for my team and my family.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. But, we like to treat people right. And we feel that with the amount of private equity that is consolidated, especially San Antonio, but really the market at large, there is a clear place for us to be different, to climb a new mountain, and a little shock and awe.
Well, I think you've done that. Your campaign, I don't know who the guy is that voices that, but he's amazing. But full disclosure.
That would be Martin Bomba.
That'd be me. But no, your campaign is fantastic. It's catchy. You actually licensed that music from the Backstreet Boys, which I think is the coolest dang thing.
New Kids on the
Sorry,
Block.
not
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's funny.
New Kids, that's right.
The New Kids actually, they were before the Backstreet
They were.
Boys.
That's right. They're the new old kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Old new kids. But just have done a magnificent job on rebranding that brand and getting the word out, and you know, and I know that your numbers have reflected that, and they have to be. And now you're back, getting back up on top in that industry. What's next for Ben?
Oh, what's next? That's
your focus now. That's it.
That's it. I mean, I'm always going to be a part of Leadhub, which that's kind of like my baby. You know, I love it. I love the people at Leadhub.
But you got a great team there.
Got a wonderful team. I mean, they are years, decades beyond me. I mean, AI, a lot of the changes happening in the digital world, I mean, they're over my head.
You gotta be on top of it every single day.
It is moving at a blistering pace. And so I still enjoy being involved and being a part of that team, but I feel like the contribution that I can, you know, give to trades are pretty significant also. And so we just purchased a company in Dallas area.
Oh, really?
And we plan on building our own little
local PE firm.
But it's not really PE because we're not debt financing. We're just doing it with a small group of ourselves.
And you're not buying
led
it with,
by me.
And excuse me for interrupting, but you're not doing it with the thought that most private equity firms do, and that's build it up as much as you can and flip it as quick as you can.
No. I mean, we're already getting approached. Like,
I'm sure
there are companies that want to buy us.
I'm sure.
I mean, I've been flirting with the idea of making it evergreen to where it can never be sold, and do it in like a trust. And we are designing an employee-owned model to where my key technicians, installers, call center will get stock in the company, so they have a vested interest on answering the phones, taking care of the customer. Because in the media, we're hearing about, this company cut 50,000 of their workforce. And then if you try to get someone on the phone, I mean, the service has gone to crap.
Yep.
We want to always lean on the human intelligence. Yes, we want to understand AI and be able to bring that into the fold intelligently, but not make that the business. Like, I love the trades because you can't have AI go install a HVAC unit. I mean, we're probably 30 years before robots are doing it. And even then, I don't know that R2-D2 is going to be able to do it.
I don't see that happening.
It probably not. What'll probably end up happening is you'll have an installer with a robot that will do a portion of it. The human will talk to the customer, build value.
And that's what I tell.
And it's a team.
When people are looking for careers, and when you talk to younger people, I know you say the same thing. Mike Rowe does it on a national scale, and that's bringing our youth back to the trades.
Absolutely.
It is such a viable industry that is as recession and
it's timeless.
It's timeless. You're not gonna lose your job to a machine if you're doing plumbing, HVAC, electrical. As far as I know, there's no robots that can put windows in right now.
Windows, roofing,
siding, doors, roofing, you name it. If it has to do with any of those trades that you're working on someone's home or someone's business, it is a safe bet to get into that. And it's not what it used to be. It used to be, those guys don't make that much money. I think a lot of people would be very surprised at the type of living that these trades make.
Oh, 100%. I mean, there was a huge PE company that flipped recently, and they sold for $2 billion. I mean, these are mom and pop air conditioning companies, electrical companies that consolidated up into one big one.
Yeah.
So I see new startups in the trades that are the next 10, 20, $30 million companies every day.
That's
all
exciting.
over the country. And so I love when I see our high schoolers, young people that are like, I don't know if college is for me. I like working with my hands, and they yes, come into these skilled trades because we need people that are good with their hands that can fix, because most homeowners, they're focused on their careers. They're focused on their families. If they're not working with electrical every day and they need to go put a thermostat on or go work with some, electrical components, they could get injured relatively quick.
We highly recommend against that.
We recommend against it. I mean, it's, there is a lot of opportunity in the trades. Even like we've got a mutual friend in the pest control world.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many different trades where a young person, even a military guy transitioning out of the military.
Oh, yeah.
There is no better place, because we're also in the middle of a silver boom right now, where a lot of owners don't really have a succession plan, and they don't feel comfortable selling to private equity because some of the reputation that private equity has brought on themselves by chopping a lot of heads, firing
diminishing
people.
the brands. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
They come in, they buy a company that has to that point has had a stellar reputation. And then the next thing you know, they're doing these cuts that you're talking about, and the reputation gets tarnished. And, and what owner wants that to happen?
When you shift from people first to profit first, customers are the first to pick up on it. I mean, they feel it, they see
They're
it.
the first ones to suffer.
But there is something interesting that I've learned in the trades just by being responsive and being the first one to get out there. You have roughly a 50-50 shot of getting the work. If you're competent, you can do the work, you're priced fairly. Most of the time, homeowners are going to say yes.
Right.
Because in the peak summer months, or, for HVAC, peak winter, maybe for plumbing, there is more business than there are companies. While we are a pretty saturated market, the peak seasons we can't get to everyone.
It'd be nice to believe you could, but you just can't.
You can't. So we need that youth movement into the trades. We need to recruit more people and train them and bring them up, and hopefully they become the next generation of entrepreneurs.
It'll be exciting to see, won't it?
Yeah.
Ben, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing some of your life story with us. I know that there's more to tell, and the next chapter's coming. So we'll get back together one of these days soon. Until then, thank you so much for what you do for San Antonio business, and thank you so much for sharing your story with our viewers and our listeners.
Man, I appreciate you having me on, and I know the Bomba Pod's going to be amazing. Everything you touch turns to gold, and I am thankful to be your friend.
Well, thanks, brother. Hey, listen, thanks everybody. Appreciate you joining us on today's show. Thank you for tuning into the Bomba Pod. If this episode encouraged you, share it with a friend, post it, and help us spread the inspiration. Special thanks to our producer, Dennis Ayotte, and to our sponsors, Window World and PJ's Coffee of New Orleans, for helping make these conversations possible. I'm Martin Bomba, and remember, your story matters, your voice matters, and your impact starts now. Until next time, go out and spread some kindness. Make the world a better place. The views expressed on this show by the guest or the host may not reflect those of our sponsors.